Hi, everybody. It is Sunday, March 14th. Um, I'm Rob Valentine, and I know I usually kind of forget to put my name out there. Um, as we know, over the last year, we've been going through a lot of crap that's been going on. Um, I started a group about a year ago on Facebook to throw ideas out there and try to kind of search for all as many answers as we could to what's really going on, especially behind the scenes, stuff that we've been sort of taking for granted and not really putting a lot of thought to it. But um, so we've discovered a lot of stuff. Um, when I started the group, I by that time, like especially by now, I've been looking into this stuff for well over 8 years now, and I've realized that we're being played, we're being controlled by people will just call it the elites or politicians and things like that. But it really runs deep, and there's a lot of kind of heavy, dark things going on Earth right now. Actually, they've been going on for thousands of years. But what we're going through lately is basically, um, it's almost kind of like a liberation of mankind, or basically a jailbreak. I've used that as an example. But um, I'm trying to simplify this as much as I possibly can. But there is an alliance of good beings out there, out in the universe. Okay, well let me start at kind of more at the beginning. What it is, and I've explained this before, is all of us, whether we realize it or not, are energetic, spiritual beings, and we have. Uh, it's like we lower our vibrations to inhabit physical entities, physical bodies, to have experiences. And these experiences are mostly like almost like classes. We do them for a lot of different reasons, but for the main thing is to learn things and to experience things, and to feel touch, like to have senses that we normally don't have. So it's like, because when you're pure energy, you can't touch things, whatever. Your hand goes through the wall, that type of stuff. So anyway, if you can imagine, this is happening in the universe. So there's a lot of us. Well, you can't even count the number of spiritual beings having physical, uh, ex- physical worlds out there to experience things. So that's kind of what's going on as far as the bigger picture is concerned. And we're all part of, whether we realize it or not, we're all part of the same energetic uh, source. We're all. I know it's a bizarre concept, but we're kind of all one. It's that example I gave before, which is like, I'm just a little cell on the end of a finger or something, but I'm still part of the whole. We're all like that. So we're all, in a sense, that's part of the exercise that we constantly do. Is we do the separation game. It's we all um, uh, try to be independent, and our try to be our own entity. In other words, we try to separate from the whole to have our own identity, even though we're part of everything. Anyway, that's a huge, huge topic. But I'm just going to kind of skip past that for now and explain what's going on locally, which means Earth. Earth has been overrun, well, for thousands and thousands of years. It's reaching a breaking point, and for a lot of really interesting reasons. But it's been overrun by uh, negative entities or dark entities that were originally here, not here, but they're they're part of us as well. They're I guess yeah, you would call it our dark side. Like for instance, okay, we separate our personalities into like a kind of a positive, generous side, and then a negative, selfish side. And in order to mature, we basically try to find a balance between the two, which means I want to have enough selfishness to keep myself alive as in self-preservation, but also generous enough to know when to uh, basically give myself away, or sacrifice my own personal needs for someone else. So this is this kind of a balance thing going on throughout the universe and since the beginning of time. And well, these negative entities that kind of play that role or got into that uh, a little too much, they've in a sense created a huge, huge empire out there. And it's the mentality is selfishness, is service to self, which means they all want to. It's about winning. It's about yeah, being in control of everything. They're the best way to, I guess, to explain that would be they're control freaks. They want everything their way and their way only, and that's how they win. It's about winning. It's not about the experience. It's about they get a high on conquering, and basically it's a power trip. The What they've done on Earth is they've basically taken it over, and they because this has been going on for so long, they know all the techniques on how to get us to sort of consent to their controlling ways, uh, and also hide it from us. So we don't even know this is going on. I mean, most people don't have a clue, and that's on purpose. It's all hidden. I have a whole list of all their techniques, but you guys, I mean, I'll go on to that in a later time, but I'm just trying to simplify this story to tell you where I come in on this. Anyway, they've basically they're controlling Earth, and they put themselves into all the highest positions, all the judges, police chiefs, politicians, head of military, whatever it takes, and it's like this crime syndicate that they basically take care of themselves. And for the most part, most of us are just average people, and we're being played, and we're being farmed, we're being used for a lot of things, energetically as well as physically, as slaves, everything. We basically they've set the system up so we are serving them. I mean, luckily, I live in a more free nation, but I mean, it's terrible around the world. Um, so I'm going to try to cut to the chase here. Is this particular timeline, or the way things are heading, is really really not good, because if they get it their way, they're going to be turning us into transhuman, uh, almost almost like half human, half robotic creatures that do nothing but serve their purpose. And this is kind of where we're heading in the future. Now, as you can imagine, all the millions of entities out there, and races and extraterrestrials, because we're all sort of one, we saw where this is headed, and this is going to affect a lot of worlds out there if this kept on going on that trajectory. So what we have done, I'm saying we because I'm not. I'm going to explain that later, a little bit later here. I'm not from around. I'm not from here. I'm not from this galaxy. From farther away. Um, uh, there's kind of like there's several alliances, but basically there's a bunch of off-world entities, let me put it that way, or off-world races that basically have come together to help uh, liberate mankind from this tyranny. Uh, and here's the difficult part is we're, we're, we're trying to do it slowly. It's just a slow wake-up call, and that's why this is taking so long, because people are really, and it is not their fault that they're so asleep. There's been technology used on them. There's been chemicals. There's things in the water. There's things in the food. Uh, we've been messed with even with our DNA. Um, there's lots of reasons why we're asleep. They've been there. This is a slow rollout. This plan of keeping us subdued and controllable, and so it's worked really, really well. Is what it boils down to. Their control system has worked really well. So it's difficult for people to wake up. Now I've come here, and I know this sounds crazy and everything, but I'm just saying. I'm when you incarnate into a physical form, what ends up happening is you have a blank slate. It's almost like a blank slating, which means you don't have memory, um, and you basically build it up from ground zero. Some beings or some spirits, when they come into this world, they have memories of their past lives, or even at least their last life, and you'll hear stories of that, especially with children that they just saw that they, their past life they died or something as a pilot or something. Who knows? They will remember it somehow, and they'll remember their past parents, siblings, and things like that. There's lots of stories like that out there, but what I'm getting at is we basically come in to these bodies again, and we have amnesia, so we slowly wake up again, and that's what's been happening to me. Oh, I'm not sure, it probably happens to a lot of people too, and a lot of people will go do a hypnosis session, and basically kind of they get shown that they've they've got past lives and things like that, and they slowly get out of this amnesia, or these memories start coming back to them. For me, yeah, it was a very, very slow process, and keep saying they is because I've got guides that are helping me, because okay, I'm trying to again try to cut to the chase a bit, try to skip through all of the longer explanations of things. Is I came here for this particular time in human history because of all the timelines. This is the one that we could break this control system if it's done right with all the right help. That's kind of the simplest way I can explain it. So, myself, like I said, I'm not from here. I'm not even exactly sure where I am from. They haven't told me that. But I came in as a walk-in, and I know I explained that before. Walk-in is different because when you're born as a child, it's like you've got a pre-arranged, almost like a deal or a contract or whatever. You'll come in to a certain family, and it's sort of pre-arranged, whatever. And the thing is, this is the weird part about it, is our controllers know and they've kind of, they keep track of who's coming in, when and where. I know it sounds weird. And they also stop us from leaving this earth too. So, because normally when someone passes on, their spirit goes back to source, which is everywhere. It's kind of hard to explain. It's not an actual particular place, but we go back to our source, and then we can choose to incarnate or whatever into another planet, into another creature, whatever we want to do. But they've kind of stopped that. We've kind of kept this. It's like a jail thing. They have an energetic net around the earth. It's not there anymore, by the way, because it's been taken down. But they did, so people can't even escape. So what they're basically doing is loop on Earth, being used over and over and over again, reincarnated. But that doesn't mean other entities can't come in. And that's where what happened to me was basically a walk-in is somehow we make an arrangement with someone on Earth that's going to be incarnated into a physical body, and at a certain age or some sort of traumatic experience that's going to happen, walk-ins will come in and take over for that person. So it's like we take on their identity and their physical form, but I'm a different spirit inside of a foreign, well, a new body that I have to get used to. And that happened to me about the age of 6. And so, as you can imagine, I grew up my life like thinking just like a normal person on Earth. The reason why that I did that, and I didn't even know about this stuff until it's like about 6 years ago. Although I suspected I have memories of really, and I've had a lot of strange experiences and spiritual experiences throughout my life, kind of hinting to me, waking me up slowly but surely. But anyway, but what they've told me, the reason why I did that is for this upcoming event, which is the liberation of mankind from this tyranny. And the reason why I came in sort of covertly is it's more like to not be tracked as much, because what they do is when they know, it's almost like I'm special help, sort of, to a certain extent. I'm like a special agent, and I'll go into that for some other time. But it's not like I'm got more powers necessarily, or I'm special, like I'm not above anybody. But what it is I'm experienced. So, and I've done this several times actually. I've been to Earth, I don't know how many times, but in the past, I've had past lives too. So I come in, I'm mostly, from what they tell me, and I kind of picked up on this too, I'm mostly here as a kind of a positive ground, like a connection. It's like they need a connection to this physical plane. And also I'm here as an observer, so I relay information a lot. I guess a better way for me to explain that is whatever I see, they see. So they're experiencing my life all the time. So whatever I observe, that's the intel that they're getting. It was to help this operation. And one of the biggest observations I keep relaying back to them, and this started, I remember even saying it in my head to them, about 6 years ago, that the brainwashing techniques that they've been using against human beings is so strong. It's so multi-layered that this is really a hard egg to crack. This is a really hard one to try to fix. And what makes it difficult is all the help out there, I'm just a small part of it, is we cannot do things that are not, we can't go against people's will. People have to want. It's that classic case of people have to want to change. Otherwise, we can't help. All we can do is suggest things. And that's really all we can do. So, or sort of hint, sort of like this would be kind of a good idea if you didn't drink poison water, and whatever. We're here to give some kind of helpful suggestions. But it's really up to everybody in particular. So as you can imagine, Earth has got billions and billions of beings being used, manipulated, and they have to make the choice on their own. We cannot force it on anybody. Um, so what's been happening lately, and I know because I've been watching it now too, because I'm the boots on the ground, and um, it's just taking longer. First of all, the the problem, the actual the what we're up against is a lot bigger than we first thought. The manipulation and and the use and abuse of mankind is a lot bigger than we thought. We're helping behind the scenes, by the way, and we've linked up to the human allies that are fighting the good fight here as well. Um, and but what is taking longer to wake people up, and we're trying to do it in a kind of slower way rather than a shock. Uh, it's kind of shocking to people anyway. But I mean, we don't want to like scream at them to wake them up. You know what I mean? It's like because people are kind of like almost sleepwalking. They don't know they're being controlled. Is what it is. So we have to do this kind of in a subtle way. But anyway, it's coming to a head. This has been going on for so long, and um, this is going to break real soon. That's all I can say, and that's why there's never been any firm dates on everything, because it has to do with people's will and their own awakening time. We cannot force. You can't force help on people. What it is that you have to work with them on it. So that's the position we're in right now. So as far as me is concerned, they keep telling me that my mission is more in the future. So I'm here for this great awakening. I'm trying to help as much as I can, and I do it in real subtle ways. I'm not one of those people that are in your face saying you got to wake up, whatever. I have to do it like with subtle hints. That's all I do. And this channel is the same thing. It's like if people don't have to watch this. They can just think, well, I'm just a crazy guy, having a bizarre breakdown or something. So in the past, I keep telling you guys I get downloads and things like that. It's almost like an upload, because in reality, what it is we all have, and this is, I guess, one of the things that everybody's going to figure out, and I'll help them learn this. But we all have kind of like the secrets of the universe inside of us. We really are. We're actually kind of like our spirits that are inhabiting our physical bodies. Is like a little information package of not only who we are as a separate entity, having a separate cell of a whole body. Our experiences, stuff like, but also we have access to all the other information for the rest of the body. So going back to that example is me being a little cell on the end of this little baby finger. I'm still part of the whole body, and I have access to the information of the whole body. So I can give a signal to my ear, go, hey, what's going on up there? Whatever, so I can be in communication with that ear, and I can know the history of the ear, and they can communicate with me. I'm using that as an example, but I'm just saying spiritually that's what it's like. But what our controllers have done is they've stopped us from being able to do that easily. Now it's more difficult. So it's like if I want to use let's say my psychic powers, which we all have. That's the weird part about it. People just don't realize it because we've all been dummied down. So if I can be in touch with that, go within, I can see things in the past, possibilities of the future, beings from another galaxy. I can talk to someone from across light years away, whatever. We all have that capability, And for the most part, even the entities out there that are helping us, a lot of the times what we've discovered or whatever is tech to be able to, exotic technology to be able to assist us in doing that. But a lot of us could just do it naturally. And that's kind of what we're supposed to be working on too, is getting that back. It's not as if we're learning something new. This is something that we all are capable of doing, but we have to relearn it. So in a sense, I guess that's probably one of my reasons for coming here, is to try to help people get in touch with that again, to reinstate that power. Anyway, I think that's all I can really talk about for today. But I'm going to, as the months go forward, I think there's going to be more disclosure, and they're giving me more heads up, saying, yeah, it's time to start explaining this a little bit better to people, and so to help people understand what's coming. So what's coming is, it's good. It's all good, but it's going to be kind of a crazy roller coaster ride of waking up to what, not only what's been happening to us, but what's about to be revealed to us. So that's as far as I'll go for today. Anyway, hope this makes you understand my perspective a little bit better. Anyway, okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.